And longtime ESPN boxing commentator Mark Kriegel joins us now to talk Jake Paul and Mike Tyson. There's a ton of buzz leading up to this fight, so let's start with a reasonable question. Is this fight real?
It's as real as all the money that's being bet. Yes, that's a qualified yes. There were certain differences from conventional fights or conventional male fights. There are 2-minute rounds. There are 14-ounce gloves as opposed to 10-ounce gloves in the usual heavyweight contest. I don't expect Texas to enforce its rules as vigilantly as it has in the past. You know, they got a kid last year, really talented kid, Keyshawn Davis. He got popped for marijuana. Was forced to have a no contest. I don't think that they're going to enforce that rule when it comes to Mike Tyson, who's obviously a great marijuana advocate and businessman.
Mark, I know that you've covered the majority of Mike Tyson's career. You even have a book coming out on him next year. How would you describe the arc of his persona?
It's the greatest comeback I've ever seen in any area, certainly of American life, that I can recall. He shouldn't be alive, and that's not me talking. He said that many, many, many times. The idea that he's here, that my book opens with a scene I never could have imagined. He's a tennis dad with a golden doodle, and I don't think that anyone thought that was the destination for Mike Tyson. And there's also this movement from him being universally despised to being beloved. You know, he's become like the avatar of bro culture. He cuts across all the usual cultural lines. I couldn't never have imagined him. I covered the ear bite. I covered his rape trial. This beloved. And I think there's something about a guy who's been down so publicly, so long, coming back. In a certain way, you really do want to root for him.
That's the American story. We lived through it, you know, the redemption story no matter what. Tyson's last competitive fight was in 2005. He's 58 here, Mark. Is there a reason outside of the payday that Tyson takes this fight?
Oh yeah, I think it's ego, and I say that as a full compliment. You can't be a fighter without an extraordinary ego. You can't go into the ring basically naked and to the world. In the case of Tyson, you need a supercharged ego to be the baddest man on the planet. He was bred to be the baddest man on the planet. I take him at face value when he says, I was born to fill up stadiums. He means that. And you can't play this role without wanting to be there.
It's so interesting, too, as there's a video of him speaking to a kid reporter going viral right now where she talks about his legacy, and he's like, I don't like legacy because legacy means ego to me. And alas, it's still, you know, very much a part of what he needs to box. I do want to talk about the other guy involved in the fight, though, right? For the youngsters who probably don't know Mike Tyson but know Jake Paul. And maybe you at home don't know from what? Was it Disney Channel, YouTube, Instagram, his antics? But do you have Jake Paul as an absolute legitimate boxer?
Yes. I mean, he's not a great fighter. There are certain limitations, but he was doing this long before anyone knew. He set about this with a great sense of purpose. Ryan Garcia, pretty well-known fighter, told me he was asking about boxing and involved in boxing as far back as 2016. And I know that he's an extremely talented provocateur, but I think that he's done everything with a great sense of purpose and deliberation.
What does Paul's popularity, because El mentioned a lot of other media venues where you can watch Jake Paul outside the ring. What does his popularity mean to this fight?
It's essential. I mean, Jake Paul works hard, which you need as a promoter, but also he has a talent. In any like combat sports construct, you need a guy at the center screaming, come one, come all, you're about to see the greatest show on earth. And he does that. What's more, he understands the mechanism in a way like an old print guy like me does not. He's maybe the third guy I've seen, and I include Trump and Al Sharpton in this, who understood at some gut level, understood the media better than the media understands itself. And he knows how to promote a fight. He's an excellent promoter. I don't care what any of the old guard says. He knows what he's doing, and he hustles.
I'm going to be 100% candid with you. When this fight was announced a million years ago, I mean, I recoiled. I did at the thought. I don't know if it's because of the age difference or what, but why specifically do you think that this fight is so polarizing for people?
First thing is, you don't know the outcome. Too many fights, and this is one of the reasons for boxing's decline. You have the A side, you have the B side. You already know where it's going to go. Whether it's real or not, you have a pretty good sense of the outcome. But I think it falls squarely in the American tradition. Oh, this is terrible, this is terrible, this is terrible. What time is it on? We got to watch it. I mean, Evel Knievel was polarizing. McGregor and Mayweather was polarizing. You know, people watch those. And again, it falls squarely in the American tradition. You don't know the outcome, and even though it's a guilty pleasure, I'm going to watch it.
It's like watching the Flying Melindas.
You can't
like,
stop.
you know, it's
You're
like the tightrope. You're like, oh no.
Right. So with that, what's your prediction?
No, my prediction is money. People are going to make a whole lot of money. I'm going with green. Outside of that, listen, I've been covering the sport long enough. I'm going with the house. I think it's Jake Paul. You know, I'm going with the favorite because look, he's the promoter. You always bet the promoter if you can't decide. But I do want to emphasize, like, I've been covering this guy, Tyson, since '88. I get a call in the middle of the night, run up to Harlem. He just got into a fight with Mitch Green. And the idea that he's still here, that people love him, is again, a destination that nobody could have predicted, and I don't even think he could have. He's outpaced our capacity to imagine, and that's extraordinary.
And by the way, you talk about that Mitch Green confrontation. It was well discussed back in the 80s. I have no idea what that would have done in social media. Oh my.
Yeah, listen, I sat here and said I recoiled at the thought of this when it was first announced.
Now you want to watch,
and
huh?
I am going to 100% be watching. I am. I'm going to 100% be watching, and we're also going to pre-order your book, Baddest Man, The Making of Mike Tyson, which is available right now. Mark Kriegel, thanks so much for joining us here.
Thank you.